This is Action News. Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you the world. Now here are your Action News anchors, Francesca Fabulosa and Beldronicus Whiteman.
Good evening. I'm Francesca Fabulosa.
And I'm Beldronicus Whiteman. You finally said my name right, Henry. I can't help but question why.
Well, it's Christmas. I suppose I can throw you a bone one night a year.
You're all hard, Henry.
Tonight is our special Christmas broadcast where we will be going live to the North Pole for a special report from Michael Bendix.
You don't want to miss that.
But that's later in the broadcast. Right now we begin with what needs to be said. Tonight, we need to discuss the very real issue of King Donald's lack of personal hygiene. The general consensus among those who interact with him on a regular basis is that Donald Trump, well, stinks. According to numerous reports, the president has an irregular bathing schedule and frequently goes without having bathed at all for protracted periods of time. The unpleasant aroma that issues forth from the president is typically described as a combination of old age, flatulence, and stupidity. It's Donald Trump's own decision if he doesn't want to bathe, but he's president now, and we can't have a president meeting foreign heads of state and other world leaders smelling like a public restroom. It's unfortunate that we have to talk about this, but many of you voted for this disgusting old man to represent America on the world stage, so you have to own what's broken about him. And I mean everything that's broken about him. It's bad enough that Trump is a blathering moron, a criminally corrupt liar and cheat, a convicted felon, a sexual predator, a racist and misogynist, and a fascist psychopath bent on the ruination of America. But can't he at least be the worst president of all time without smelling like he sleeps in a week-old box of kitty litter? Clearly, money can't buy you even an ounce of class.
It needed to be said. Now let's go to the headlines. Well, the Trump presidency hasn't even begun yet, and already his administration is unique for having hired more billionaires than any other president in history. Donald Trump has already hired 14 billionaires to head a number of federal offices. These people have no other qualifications other than being fabulously wealthy. This raises the question, what the hell is Trump doing? And has he always been this stupid when hiring his people?
Considering half his company is serving time in prison, I'd say the answer to that is an obvious yes. One after another, Donald Trump's campaign promises are being exposed as lies. Trump has recently been walking back many of his promises when questioned about his agenda going forward. He now claims he may not be able to reduce the price of groceries, gas, nor anything else while most likely raising the cost of nearly everything imported from anywhere. One stated reason many people voted for Trump was their certainty that he could get the cost of living under control, which he stated he could do if elected. Now that he has been, apparently he's not so sure about any of that now. Because it's hard to change stuff, it's like really hard.
It was, of course, predictable that he was lying at the time he said that.
In what way?
His lips were moving. Something else in Trump's sights he's targeting for annihilation is Medicare and Social Security, two government social safety nets relied on by millions of Americans. So, of course, Trump wants to eliminate them because, God forbid, any Republican ever do anything that might be of help to the middle or lower class average American. The fact that Social Security is money we've all been paying into our entire working life and rightly belongs to us doesn't come into play here. The Republican government sees it as government money, and they want it. All of it to do with as they please. One thing they plan on doing with it is to offset the cost of renewing Trump's tax giveaway to the wealthy when he renews his tax breaks of 2017. Somebody's going to have to pay for it, and it may as well be you and I.
I guess we can kiss that money goodbye. Something else we may be saying goodbye to is the Morning Joe news program on MSNBC. After stepping in a big pile of shit a few weeks ago, when Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski announced they had bent the knee and genuflected to Trump by having dinner with him at Mar-a-Lago. This came after a decade of comparing Trump to fascists around the world and even Hitler. They tried to spin it as something noble, but to their viewers, it just came off as capitulation. They were beaten. They knew it, so they decided to reverse themselves on everything. They'd stewed for a decade and kissed Trump's ring. Their audience has abandoned them in droves. And MSNBC as a whole is losing viewers and may be facing an uncertain future.
There's no room for pussies in the game of politics. Finally, on a different note, a man in Nevada posted a video that's going viral across the world. The video features the man whose name is Arthur Cleary, playing hits from the past on an unusual musical instrument. It's a large piece of bubble wrap stretched across a frame. Cleary pops the bubbles in rhythm to the music. He calls the weird instrument the popsichord. This is just another example that nothing is too goofy, that the internet won't embrace it.
I never dreamed you could play music on bubble wrap, to say nothing of playing classic hits on it.
You've never heard tequila until you've heard it played on bubble wrap.
You mean on a popsichord.
Exactly.
Those are the headlines. Now let's go to Flash Madigan for the Sports Minute. Flash.
Good evening, sports fans. This is Flash Madigan with a wrap-up of the happenings in sports this week. In a shocking turn of events, the local Pillow Fight League held its grand finals last night. Featherweight champion Jordan the Fluffinator Green took on underdog Kevin Pillow Pummeler Lang in a downy duel for the ages. The Fluffinator's signature move, the soft slam, left feathers flying and the fans in stitches. Meanwhile, in the competitive soap bubble soccer world, Team Sudsy made a clean sweep against Team Sopadope. Star player Bubbles McGee scored the winning goal that promptly bounced into the snack stand, sending popcorn flying everywhere. In professional thumb wrestling, reigning champion opposable Joe Mignona retained his title despite a valiant effort by newcomer Thumb Attack Jack Thomas. Spectators were left on the edge of their seats. Meanwhile, in the world of professional snail racing, champion Turbo slugged his way to victory in a grindingly slow finale. The race commentator quipped he'd seen glaciers move faster than this. Turbo's win was celebrated with a very slow parade. Finally, on the extreme ironing circuit, Ironman Stan Wysocki managed to press a record 25 shirts while skydiving. His rival Flatjack McNamara attempted to one-up him by ironing underwater, but had to surface when he realized he forgot to plug in his iron. He corrected this oversight and went ahead with his attempt. The funeral is next Tuesday. Better luck next time, Jack. That's the sports wrap-up for this week. Back to you, Francesca.
Thanks, Flash. Now here's Chuck Clyde with the weather. What's the weather outlook going to be?
Somebody get this goddamn mistletoe out of here! The next person who kisses me is getting a pop in the snoot.
What about the weather, Chuck? Will Santa be facing any storms on his ride around the world?
I don't know! All I know is that it's still goddamn cold, and I'm fed up with being kissed just because someone hung this weed over my head.
I think that's the best we're going to get.
Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Well, it's time now for that special report we promised you at the beginning of the show. We're going live now to Michael Bendix for a tour of Santa's Magic Castle, and maybe even an interview with jolly old Saint Nick himself.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for that after last year's disappointment.
It might happen. Michael.
Thanks, Belle. Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Bendix coming to you live from the North Pole. Well, it's almost Christmas, and the activity here is at a fever pitch. Everyone is busy getting everything ready for Santa's big ride in just a week or so, and we don't want to disturb them, so we'll be taking a self-guided tour of Santa's Magic Castle. There you see the castle behind me. We've been given free rein to go anywhere we like while we're here, so let's go see what we can see.
Michael, let's keep our eyes open for Santa Claus, and maybe we can get that interview we didn't get last year.
Don't sweat it, Matt. It's under control. No way are we going to miss our chance again. If he's here, we'll find him. Let's get this tour started. This is the entry foyer of the castle. As you can see, it's quite lavish and just the sort of thing you'd expect to see in a magic Christmas palace. There's tapestries from all around the world, hand-carved wooden adornments, and a hand-blown glass chandelier. It's all quite spectacular. Visitors setting foot in here and this is the first thing they see would be very impressed. I know I am. Let's go see where the toys are made. Here we see the elves making the toys for Santa to deliver, but this isn't even the workshop floor. This is just a satellite workshop off the main floor. This is the main floor. This is where the majority of the toys are made. It's a modern, industrialized computer-assisted operation that produces all the toys in a year that Santa will deliver on Christmas Eve to all the children of the earth.
Not all of them. Remember, I explained that last year.
Oh right, only about a third of them actually meet Santa's criteria to receive a toy.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you remember Miss Bell Chime from last year. How have you been, Miss Chime?
I'm doing fine. Nice to see you again, Michael.
Miss Chime was one of the sweetest people we interviewed last year. She's over 700 years old, but doesn't look a day over 12.
That's nice of you to say.
Why is there no roof on this building?
We like to work in the snow. It's an elf thing.
Well, we need to continue our tour of Santa's castle.
Keep your eyes peeled. Santa could be anywhere.
Believe me, we're not going to miss him again this year. Goodbye, Miss Chime.
Bye, boys.
Here we are in a break room where the elf laborers can sit and relax for a few minutes during their shifts.
You heard Miss Chime. Santa could be anywhere, so stay sharp. And let's keep an eagle eye open for him.
Relax, Matt. If he's around, we'll see him. It's under control.
I just don't want to miss him again this year.
Relax. We'll get that interview. Now let's head outside and take a look at the elf village. Here we are in the elf village that caters to the needs of the entire elf population of the castle. Groceries, housing, a bank, a health club, restaurants. It's all here for the elves' convenience.
Oh, look who's back. The dipshit who thinks I'm a nobody.
Look here, Slushy. I made an understandable mistake. It wasn't intentional, and it was a year ago. Get over it, Snowflake.
Get frostbite, you putz.
Same to you. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. It was a simple misunderstanding that he clearly hasn't gotten over yet. Let's continue our tour with the reindeer stables just over yonder. Here we are at the reindeer stables and, as you can see, Blitzen has taken an interest in our cameraman. Either that or he aspires to a career in broadcast journalism. Let's go inside and see where the reindeer live. Here inside the stables you can see Santa's team at rest with their families. It's surprisingly comfortable in here, despite the lack of any climate controls, and I think the Combine A. Oh, excuse me, That was Donner, ladies and gentlemen. Their names are printed on their harnesses. Has anyone seen Rudolph? No, I take it back, viewers. It's actually getting quite cold out here. Let's go back inside the castle and get warm. That's more like it. A roaring fire and shelter from the snow. This is more like it. Okay, since we're back inside, let's go see where Mr. and Mrs. Claus sleep. This quaint little nest is only a guest room. This is where I'll be sleeping tonight while my producer will sleep on the floor. It's a nice room, but where does Santa and his wife bed down for the night? Let's go see.
The floor?
Well, here's where Mrs. Claus sleeps. It's quite a lovely room for the woman that Santa loves, but personally, it's so feminine. In here, I feel like I'm going to start ovulating any minute, but for a woman, I'm sure it's very comfortable. I gotta get out of here though. This is more estrogen-laced pink than I can comfortably handle. This is more like it. Santa's room kinda feels like a hunting lodge. At least I don't feel like it's that time of the month when I'm in here. I'll say this for Santa and the missus. They really know how to live.
Michael, can you find the kitchen or maybe a bathroom? I'd be curious to see that.
I'll keep my eyes open, Francesca. At the moment, here we are in the main dining hall. Here the Clauses can feed large groups of visitors in magical Christmas style and comfort. I was looking at one of the menus and saw it featured dishes like figgy pudding, sugar plum pie, and oddly enough, roasted reindeer. I would hope that's not being made common knowledge around here.
Roasted reindeer, I'm not sure how I'd feel about being served a plate of that.
Me either. It seems to me it'd be tough and gamey. I'll pass.
Any sign of the kitchen?
I haven't found it, but here we are in Santa's personal office. It's here where he makes his list and checks it twice. It's a cozy space, and I can imagine Santa spending a great deal of time in here. He has a television, a computer, and Wi-Fi with Bluetooth, so he's pretty well set up here with most of what's needed for a good man cave. I've also found Santa's main reception chamber. It's here that visitors, representatives, and dignitaries from around the world are formally received. It's an impressive space.
Santa's lodgings are also lavish. It looks like there's good money in being Santa.
It certainly does, and I did find this at your request. One of the guest bathrooms. It's damn nice, and there's even a Christmas tree in here. That's not surprising. I've lost count of how many Christmas trees I've seen in this place. Well, we're going to conclude our tour of the castle here, as I poked my nose into many of the rooms at this point, and I don't want to make a pest of myself.
Thanks for the tour, Michael.
We're back outside, and that concludes our tour of Santa's magical castle. I'm sorry we didn't find St. Nick, but I guess there's always next year. This is Michael Bendix, live from the North Pole. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Back to you, Francesca.
That concludes our broadcast for this evening. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Wait till Michael gets back and starts reviewing the footage and sees Santa was seated right behind him in the workshop break room. He'll be so mad he missed his chance to get that exclusive interview for the second year in a row. It'll be funny. Well, that's my Christmas present for this year.